action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Friday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com. And oh baby, I often come on here and complain about these bad beats I have, and after I have a bad beat, I'll say, well, rode a little bit of luck here. Well, a lot of that luck found us last night. If anyone tailed that Philadelphia 76ers -4.5 bet, it looked like they were dead. They were up by 3 with about 8 seconds remaining. Nets ball, an inbound pass. They simply throw the ball away. Wide open layup for the Sixers. They win by 5. The rest is history. What a cover by them. So just 2-2 on the night for yours truly, but was happy to see that. So hopefully more good luck will find us here tonight. We got picks for every single playoff game. There is to bet on tonight. A couple spots we like in Major League Baseball. A top 5 list. My 5 most underrated sports movies of all time, and more topics that will kick around here in the second half of the show. Let's bring in my co-host for today, Mr. New York City, training for the New York City Marathon. There he is. Hello, Ian. How are we feeling?
Hello. A bit of a losing night for me last night, but you can't win every night, so it's all right. I'm not a Bud Light drinker, but not because of recent controversy. I see why Tito put that in there.
Sure.
No, I don't drink any light beer, Tito. Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light. I'm not a light beers for losers. How about that?
No, shut up. Oh my God,
nope, it is.
Beer snobs drive me nuts. Listen, a ice cold Coors Light on a hot summer day is incredibly refreshing. You'd rather
what
sit there
in a
and drink
normal beer
Guinness
isn't
out in the sun?
No, I wouldn't drink a
beer
Guinness,
is, but I'm saying
what?
People. Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying I would drink a Guinness out in the sun. Might not be the most refreshing, but a normal just lager would be nice. A nice moose head. A nice ice cold moose head.
My dad worked for Labatt, so we didn't drink moose head in our home growing up. So, all right. Okay, so let's switch gears here over to sports. We got a lot going on here: NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. So let's get right into the action. We're going to start things off down in Atlanta. Boston Celtics looking to jump out to a 3-0 series lead. I like them to do just that, and I love them to cover the spread, -5. What a number. Beautiful spot here for the Celtics. So let's get right into this one. This team smells blood, and first-round sweeps are the norm for the Celtics. They've swept their first-round opponent in 3 of the last 4 seasons. They don't play with their food. They were on a mission to make quick work of the Hawks, especially when they see the Sixers, who they'll face in the second round, making quick work of the dinky Brooklyn Nets. Taking to the stats from the first 2 games, these teams are miles apart offensively. 59.8 PFT% for the Celtics, 46 for the Dinky Hawks. Put that 46% into perspective for the Dinky Hawks. The Rockets rank last in EFT percentage this season at 51.6. The Hawks have 46 in this series so far. And funny thing about the Hawks, they actually shot it a little bit worse on their home court here during the regular season. The Celtics straight up have their numbers. 7 straight wins by 6 or more points versus Atlanta. 6 of those 7 were by 9. They pull them out on the regular. Maybe they'll do it tonight. I'd like them to at least win by 6. Boston Celtics. All right, let's hop over to the ice, Ian. What do we got next?
Starting off, we're looking at the first Eastern Conference game of the night. Here it is, the New York Islanders hosting the Carolina Hurricanes for Game 3. I was on the Hurricanes both in Game 1, Game 2. I hit both of those. This time, though, I'm switching things up. I'll take the home team tonight. I'll take the Islanders. I got it at -110. You can still find some -120s out there. I still like it at that price. And the main reason being is that the Hurricanes are completely banged up. They already are missing Andrei Svechnikov. I always struggle with that. That's a tough one. Svechnikov. Obviously, they had Max Pacioretty out for them all year. And now add Teuvo Teravainen to the list after he broke his wrist in Game 2 when the player on the Islanders just an all-time dirty tomahawk chop right on his wrist. I don't know where the Hurricanes' offense is going to come from anymore. Their top 3 forwards out of the lineup. And actually, when you look at 5-on-5 play through the first 2 games, things have been actually pretty close. If you look at expected goals per 60 minutes of 5-on-5 play, the Islanders actually a very, very slight advantage at 2.69 compared to the Hurricanes at 2.67. The Islanders have also done a great job of limiting high-danger scoring chances, have only kept the Hurricanes to 9.67 high-danger scoring chances per 60 minutes. If they can continue to limit them to only a few high-danger scoring chances a game, I don't know where the Hurricanes goals are going to come from, especially now with Teravainen out and with Ilya Sorokin in net for the Islanders. I think the Islanders can get a win here tonight at home. I got them at minus 110. I still like it at the current price, though, minus 120.
All right, let's stay in the New York region, but for this one, we're off to the NBA. The Cavs in town for Game 3 versus the Knicks. And for this one, we're going to take a swing because we are swingers around here. And chasing that paper, indeed, Donovan Mitchell. 35 or more points going off at plus 250. Let's take a swing on Mitchell here. This man is in top form right now. Quietly. On a wild scoring tear, yes, just 17 his last time out. He sat back and watched Darius Garland do most of the work in that blowout there in Game 2. But check out his previous 5 games, including Game 1 of this series. 38 in that game. Then we go into the regular season games. A 43, a 40, a 42, and a 44. Had 35 or more. 5 of his last 6 games, he has been going off. He's been going off against the New York Knicks this season. 3 35-plus point games against them. A 38 against them in Game 1. A 42 on March 31st. A 38 back in October. He did have a 36-point game against them last season as well. And hey, this is what he does in the playoffs. His last 25 playoff games have seen him average 31.4 points per game. He's had 35 or more 8 times in that span. Don't be surprised to see a Madison Square Garden moment from Mitchell tonight. 35 or more plus 250. All right, Ian, let's keep rolling back to the ice. What's next?
All right, we got an underdog pick for tonight. It is the Florida Panthers. I'm going to back them to upset the Bruins once again,
yes.
plus 135 in Game 3 of their series. Panthers have actually been outplaying the Bruins so far this series. Even when the Bruins won Game 1, I thought the Panthers outplayed them in that game as well. Overall for the series, when you look at expected goals during 5-on-5 play, the Panthers have 3.46 per 60 minutes. The Bruins have 2.44. So that's over a goal better for the Panthers so far this series. High danger scoring chance is also a big advantage for the Panthers, coming in at 14.84 per game. Bruins only 9.04. And the Bruins are finally getting exposed. I talked about this all season, but when you look at a lot of advanced analytics, the Bruins ranked around 10th in the NHL, but they won so many games because they were 3rd in shooting percentage and 1st in save percentage. You can hide a lot of those issues with advanced analytics if you just score on a high percentage of your shots and prevent the other team from doing so. But now we're seeing what happens when the Bruins don't have a very extremely high shooting percentage and save percentage. In fact, only a shooting percentage of 9.09% this series, only a save percentage of 88.71%, and we're seeing what's happening. Obviously, I will say, small sample size. Linus Ullmark could lock in tonight and finally have a good game in this series, but I'm not going to bet on it. I'm going to bet on the opposite happening. I've been trying to fade the Bruins all season. It might finally work out for me. I will say the Florida does have to stay out of the box, though, because the Bruins do have an advantage on special teams, both on the power play and the penalty kill. But 5-on-5 play, the Panthers have been playing much better, and that warrants a plus 135 money line upset bet tonight.
Let's go Panthers. Okay, back to the NBA. We have Game 3 between the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. Going to go back to the well on Karl Anthony Towns' rebounds. Going to take him to have 10 or more rebounds going off at plus 115. So let's get right into this one for Cat. His postseason rebounding is up. Totals of 10, 11, 11, and 12 in his last 4 games. Games 1 and 2 of this series and the 2 playing games. And a blowout and foul trouble have limited his minutes here. We usually see starters get an increase in minutes in the playoffs. That's not the case for him. There's some real potential for more time on the court than he's seen in the first 2 games. More time on the court, quite simply, equals more opportunities for rebounds. Give me Cat 10 or more rebounds plus 115. All right, over to Ian. Let's keep going. What's next?
Next up, we got the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild in what's shaping out to be the closest series of the bunch in the opening round. I'm going to take the Dallas Stars as a pick'em on the road tonight in Minnesota. Got to trust the Stars' offense here. Their 5-on-5 numbers have been pretty dead even to start the series, but through the regular season, the Stars have been the much better offensive team, ranking well above the Wild in categories like expected goals, high danger scoring chances, and shooting percentage. And they also have a huge advantage on special teams. 3rd best penalty kill this season, 5th best power play. And that showed, especially in Game 2. The Stars lead all playoff teams so far in power play goals, already notching 5. That's going to be huge as the series continues. And just because this game is in Minnesota doesn't mean that you should fade the Dallas Stars, because they actually traveled well this regular season, ranking in the top 5 in categories like Corsi percentage and expected goals on the road. So I like the Stars as a pick'em. A little coin flip bet tonight in Minnesota.
Okay, my favorite ice pick hopefully goes better than my one on the New Jersey Devils. My New Jersey Devils, they might be absolutely toast here. I'm going to take a shot on, well, not much of a shot, not much of a swing at all. Kind of a safe bet, I think. I'm going to take the Oilers minus 150 in LA versus the Kings. I got them jumping out to a 2-1 series lead. So just 2 games, I get it, but a massive analytics edge in the series here for Edmonton. They've been crushing it in terms of expected goals and high danger chances. They've outshot the Kings by 18 in the series as well. Their offense is absolutely flying here. They lead all playoff teams in high danger chances through 2 games, 14 more than LA. In this series, this is the same blueprint as last season. Last season, these teams met in round 1. LA pulled off the upset in game 1. Edmonton bounced back in game 2. Then, last season, they went into LA and absolutely destroyed the Kings 8-2 in Game 3. I'm not predicting that they'll beat them that bad, but I do think history will repeat itself. They go ahead 2-1 in this series. Give me the Oil minus 150. All right, let's hop over to Major League Baseball, Ian. What do we got?
Yeah, Joe, before I get into that, bad news for you. Last night we collabed on the Devils. That didn't work out for us. Unfortunately, I'm on the Oilers as well. So another collab bet tonight.
No!
Uh-oh.
We've done quite bad with those this season. If you recall the New Orleans Saints during the football season, we collabed on a Thursday night, and that went horribly.
We suck again!
Might want to fade our collab bets tonight and moving forward. All right, let's talk baseball, shall we? Our Toronto Blue Jays, Joe, are right here in the great city of New York to take on the Yankees, and I'll be backing my Blue Jays. I'll be there. I'll be wearing my Bo Bichette jersey, and I'll have money on it. Give me the Jays plus 115 tonight. Yusei Kikuchi gets a start for the Blue Jays tonight, and I am reluctantly going to trust him. Maybe I shouldn't, because last time I did, I backed Kikuchi in person. I went to a game in Toronto, and they lost like 12-1 to the Angels. But let's hope things turn around for him tonight. He's actually had a pretty solid start to his year. At least 2 of his first 3 starts have gone well. 1 earned run against the Royals, 1 earned run against the Rays, 6 earned run against the Angels. Maybe they're just his kryptonite. Best ERA amongst all starting pitchers in spring training. But the big reason why I like him tonight is because he throws the baseball with his left arm. That is important because the Yankees' 6th worst OPS in Major League Baseball against lefties this season. Their OPS drops from 743 against righties all the way down to 613 against lefties. Also, I know the Yankees bullpen has the best bullpen ERA in the majors, but I expect regression in that area. Their bullpen's filled with a bunch of bums. I don't know if I can name a single player in that bullpen right now that's healthy.
Losers.
So not only am I going to say the Blue Jays are going to win tonight, my specific prediction is they're going to take the lead late in the game. I'm seeing some 8th inning runs, some 9th inning runs, some heroic efforts by the Blue Jays to take the lead and win the game. Give me the Blue Jays plus 115.
The Blue Jays, okay, Major League Baseball. Let's head out to the West Coast, a first 5 spot. I think a beautiful spot here. You can get the Diamondbacks at home minus 115 with the San Diego Padres in town. Let's get right into this one here. So the D-backs absolutely crushing right-handed pitching right now. Last 2 weeks of the season, they rank 2nd in OPS. versus righties. They take on Seth Lugo. Guess who's last in OPS versus right-handed pitching in this span? Yes, indeed. It is the San Diego Padres. They're taking on Zach Gallen. Yeah, they got some runs across last night, but they've been unimpressive on the season here offensively. The big bats have been quiet. Good returns on Xander Bogaerts so far, but you can't say the same on Manny Machado and Soto. Those guys are really struggling, slumping coming into this one. Who isn't slumping, though? Starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks, Zach Gallen, really rounding into form. 0 earned runs with 18 strikeouts his last 2 starts. Give me the Diamondbacks first 5 minus 115. All right, I also like Zach Gallen to go over a strikeout total of 6.5. I have a few additional pitcher props I put out on my Twitter. I went 3-0 on those yesterday, so make sure you are following me on Twitter. Check those out, JTFOZ. If you're watching live right now on YouTube, hit up that live chat. Let us know what your best bets are for the night. And if you like the show, it's easy to let us know by simply clicking that like button right down there. Hit that subscribe button. Well, you are at it. Coming right up, my top 5 most underrated sports movies. But before we get into that, let me tell you a little bit about our sponsor, BetMGM, the king of sports books. If you're looking for a new sports book, we have a deal for you. We have an exclusive offer just for Vegas Insider users. Sign up with BetMGM and use that promo code VIBonusMatch. And you will get up to $1,100 of your deposit matched by BetMGM. That's code VIBonusMatch, all one word, no spaces, for a first bet offer up to $1,100. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sports books. All right, let's have a little bit of fun here, Ian. So, yesterday, we were talking about the movie Moneyball. We were making fun of the Oakland A's, and we were talking about how we think Moneyball is an overrated movie. Really, you win one playoff series, so they make a movie. I could go on about that forever, but that kind of got me thinking, what are some of the most underrated sports movies? Now, how do you define underrated in this instance? Well, I'm not going to be up here and talking about the Rockies and the Friday Night Lights and Sandlot, Bloodsport, Happy. I could go on forever about all the great sports movies they are, but I'm talking about underrated movies that have flown under the radar, maybe that are afterthoughts now, or maybe did not get the recognition that they deserved at the time. So let's get into my top 5 most underrated sports movies, movies that I really enjoyed that I would recommend to you, dear viewer, to check out. So let's start with number 5 on my list of the most underrated sports movies, The Fan. This is a psychological sports thriller from 1996, starring Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes. You ever hear of Robert De Niro, Ian?
Yeah, once or
Pretty
twice.
Good actor. Anyhow, De Niro plays a deranged fan of the San Francisco Giants who dangerously obsesses over his favorite player, Bobby Rayburn, played by Wesley Snipes. Conflict ensues. Now, it's not going to blow you away. It's a pretty good movie, though. Kind of interesting. 1996. Some of our younger viewers maybe haven't heard of it. I recommend checking that out. Let's get into another movie from the mid-90s. This is a personal favorite of mine. Sudden Death. Jean-Claude Van Damme and hockey. Enough said. This is a 1995 action thriller where Van Damme plays a fire marshal at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena who needs to save the day versus extortionists who hold unsuspecting NHL players and fans ransom during Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. One scene in particular has Van Damme disguise himself as the Penguins goalie, and he actually sees some game action. Very riveting stuff. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Sudden Death. Okay, let's get a little bit more recent here. This is maybe one of my favorite comedies of all time. I don't think most people hold it in that high of regard. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. If you have seen it, I recommend watching it again. I'm talking about the remake of the movie The Longest Yard, which came out in 2005. Just a fun movie, a fun story, a lot of great jokes, great sports action. And like all great comedies, it is very incredibly Rewatchable. If it's on TV, you're sticking around and checking this out. And the cast is absolutely insane. Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Burt Reynolds, Nelly, Terry Crews, Michael Irving, the playmaker, who is really good in that movie. Probably playing a version of himself. Tracy Morgan from the world of wrestling, Goldberg, Kevin Nash, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who unfortunately plays an extreme racist in it. So that's not a fun part of the movie. But we also have Jim Rome, Chris Berman, Dan Patrick, Courtney Cox. Great movie. I don't think it got the recognition it deserved. I recommend watching it if you haven't, or rewatching it if it's been a few years. Number 2 on my list of the most underrated sports movies of all time. This one is another mid-2000s, 2007, Blades of Glory, starring Will Ferrell. Now, a lot of people might think, well, that's not an underrated movie. What are you talking about? I think it is. I don't think that cracks the top 5 of most people's list for Will Ferrell, but I was absolutely blown away the first time I saw it. You know, it did come out between Talladega Nights and Step Brothers, so maybe for that reason it does fly under the radar. Ferrell plays a sex-addicted figure skater. Enough said. I'm in. I'm in again. Very rewatchable. Great cast. Ferrell, John Hader, Will Arnett, Amy Poehler, Jenna Fisher, a.k.a. Pam from The Office, Craig T. Nelson, a.k.a. Coach. You gotta love Craig T. Nelson. Okay, number 1. We're going back to the mid-90s for this. Number 1 on my list of the most underrated sports movies of all time. 1994, the basketball movie Above the Rim. One of my favorite movies of all time. This is absolutely great. Now, why is this underrated? Rotten Tomatoes has given this movie a rating of 52%. That's 52 out of 100 people. And they rank this as their 28th best basketball movie? Are you kidding me?
That is blasphemous.
It is blasphemous. So the plot of this movie, Kyle Lee Watson, a talented basketball player who is about to graduate from high school. While he waits to find out if he will receive a scholarship to Georgetown University, he finds himself in a difficult dilemma. Over playground basketball tournament, he must decide whether or not to align himself with beloved basketball coach Mike Rollins or Birdie, played by Tupac, a local drug dealer in the neighborhood. So just a great story. Great performance by Tupac. Great New York City movie. You know, sometimes in a movie or a show where the city or the location almost takes on the role of a character. You see that? It's a good New York basketball movie. Great basketball game at the end where a man wearing khakis absolutely dominates the game. Awesome soundtrack as well if you're a fan of 90s hip-hop. So Above the Rim from 1996. Check it out. These movies don't seem old to me, but for you younger guys out there watching in your 20s, who weren't even born when some of these movies came out, I recommend going back, checking those out. So, Ian, what do you think of my list? Have you seen many of those movies? I'm sure you've seen.
I've only seen 2 of them.
Once.
I've seen Longest Yard and I've seen Blades of Glory. I don't know if I classify Longest. I feel like Longest Yards is always said as like a top tier sports movie. So I don't know if that can be underrated, can it?
I don't think it got the recognition that it deserved, but I understand that argument for sure.
I have 2 I'd like to add, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. Number 1 is The Fighter. Although people, it might not be too underrated because people do say The Fighter is good with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale, but I think that's my second favorite movie next to sports movie next to Remember the Titans. I would say The Fighter. Boxing movie, Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale. That's one of the greatest acting performances in a sports movie of all time. Christian Bale, the heroin addict brother, crack addict,
demented brother.
I don't know which drug it was.
Okay, give your other one, then I'll provide feedback on both.
The other one was Warrior, which is like a UFC movie. Tom Hardy in it. Very, very cheesy, but still I enjoyed it. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Tom Hardy, it's him and his brother. I don't know the other actor's name, but their dad is a famous actor, and I forget his name too. But his dad plays like an alcoholic, which is kind of fun. So Warrior, very cheesy, but pretty good.
The Warrior, yes, that would be an underrated movie. The reason that would be underrated is a lot of people, like, if you say that name to them, unless you're a big movie buff or a big sports guy or MMA fan, maybe the people haven't heard of it. I don't think, like, it got a big marketing push when it came out in theaters, but I watched it and I agree. But I don't agree that in no way can you call The Fighter underrated. It got nominated for like 5 Oscars.
Did it?
It was a big time movie. So yeah, that's a good movie, but we got to define what is underrated here a little bit, right? And that's the same argument for my my Longest Yard. That maybe it doesn't qualify as underrated. There's a few other movies that came to mind. The Program, a mid-90s college football movie. I highly recommend checking that out. But I got to spend some time here. I could make a list of 100 sports movies that I recommend checking them out. So maybe during the summer, when things slow down a little bit, we'll get more into that. We'll talk about our most overrated sports movies, where Moneyball will be at the top of my list. Okay, guys. Before we get into a few other topics here, let me tell you a little bit about the VegasInsider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips, along with picks and expert breakdowns. If you want more VegasInsider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the VegasInsider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the VegasInsider app. Yep, producer Tito throwing out the movie Blue Chips, which I would agree is a really good movie. Shaq. That's funny. I think that was Shaq's first movie. And then the rest of his movies were just complete garbage. Kazam and Steel and Blue Chips was pretty good. Basically, he was playing a version of himself. So that makes a lot of sense. That said, I don't know if I'm taking movie recommendations from Tito, a guy who casually throws it out there that he's never seen a Rocky or Creed movie. Refuses to watch the movie. You don't know about this?
I've seen a Rocky movie?
Yeah, he fancies himself as some sort of a movie buff, and he just casually throws that out there. What are you doing?
I mean, the first Rocky movies, even though the first Rocky movie is a sports movie, it's like widely known as like one of the better just straight up movies of all time. So you can't consider yourself a movie buff. That's like saying you're a movie buff, but you haven't seen Godfather. Like, you have to watch Rocky.
Yeah, they're great movies. They're fun. You can poke holes in them all you want. He hasn't seen The Godfather either.
Well, okay, so you're not a movie buff then.
No. One of my favorite movies, Catch Me If You Can. Tito told me he turned that off.
Okay, so no, he just doesn't like movies. He's the opposite of a movie buff.
All right, let's switch gears back to sports here. We'll do a big movie show in the summer, maybe that week of the Major League Baseball All-Star Game when things just die down. But okay, Ian, health check. Our resident Maple Leafs fan, you weren't feeling so great yesterday. It was obviously rock bottom the night of Game 1. But what a bounce back for the Maple Leafs. They beat the living shit right out of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now the series shifts over to Tampa, locked up 1-1. How you feeling?
Confident again. Last night was an absolute dream of a game. I mean, what better way to bounce back from a 7-3 defeat than winning the next game 7-2? They won up the Tampa Bay Lightning. I just bet on them already to win Game 3 tomorrow. I got it at minus 108. They're dominating 5-on-5 play. The first half of hockey last night was the best I've seen the Leafs play as a team in I don't know how long. I'm a little concerned about their goaltending. Samsonov still looks shaky, even though he only allowed 2 goals. But the Leafs are the better team. The odds indicated that. The series odds beforehand, where they finished in the regular season, indicated that. If the Leafs can just psychologically hold their shit together, they'll win this series, and it's not going 7. If they don't hold their shit together, they're going to lose. Last night was a promising step in the right direction. If they win Saturday, they might win in 5. I'm not putting that outside the realm of possibility. They might win in 5.
Oh, boy. So
they dominated last night.
They are throwing everybody right off the scent. And then they're going to come out for Game 3 and do exactly what they did in Game 1. Lay an egg. Hammer the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 3. I highly recommend it. Now, I'm pretty bummed out, Ian. The team that I wanted to adopt, I guess I have adopted them. They are the CTP darling from the NHL world, the New Jersey Devils. They got nothing. I don't know if you watched any of that game. They sucked. Their power play was complete trash. And it looks like, hey, sometimes a series will shift to the playoffs And I don't know if you want to blame it on youth or inexperience, but they quite simply just do not have it. And it looks like Sesh Turkin could be that guy in the playoffs, the goalie. You usually get a few of them. He might be the main one that just wins a bunch of games for his team. So the series shifting over to Madison Square Garden. A bunch of Rangers fans at the Devils game last night. That doesn't really help matters. So your thoughts on that series? The Devils. It looks like they just don't have it.
Yeah, I think it is inexperience. You got to learn how to lose before you learn how to win in the NHL playoffs. And let's not forget this: the Devils team has a bright future. Their window is just starting to open. They're going to have another 5 to 7 years of playoff appearances, and this is good experience for them. But yeah, they're getting outplayed. Their goaltending has been absolute trash, which has cost them. The Rangers' power play has dominated them. They might squeak one out at MSG. The Rangers historically have not played well this season at Madison Square Garden. So I think they win. I think they win one game, but I think it's probably going to be over in 5.
Yeah, Mr. Optimism there. We appreciate this. Us Devils fans appreciate your optimism, Ian. Taking a look at the NBA from last night. So we've talked about this multiple times this season, the missing player theory. So there was a bunch of times during the regular season where, I would place a bet on a team. I specifically remember betting on the Lakers, and a couple hours before the game, LeBron pulls out. After I made the bet, the Lakers go on to win anyways. I remember betting on the Mavs. An hour before the game, Luka pulls out. They go on to win anyways. We see this all the time in the NBA. We saw it the other night. Game 2's Giannis and Ja were both out for their teams in game 2. Those teams went on to win and easily cover the spread in their games. And we saw it last night again in the NBA. So, of course, Draymond Green was out for the Warriors. They beat the shit out of the Kings, wire to wire, easily win, easily cover the spread. And then, of course, the big disappointment was Kawhi Leonard late afternoon yesterday. They announced that he's not playing. That spread takes a big jump. Of course, the Clippers don't win that game, but they do go on to cover the spread anyways. So it kind of goes what you talk about, Ian. Fade the narrative, underreact, right?
It's my favorite thing to do in the NFL. Unfortunately, I haven't done it in the NBA these playoffs. I wish I had, but yeah, there's nothing I love more than an injury happens, the line gets completely pounded. There's like a certain point where like the line should shift because of an injury or a player being out, but then what happens is then it goes like a point or two past that point, and then inherently the value's on the other side. That happens more often than not. It happens in the NFL all the time. I love taking advantage of it. I wish I took advantage of it in the NBA.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook almost had a triple-double last night. So, yeah, the Golden State Warriors right back into that series versus the Kings. They had their backs up against the wall. Game 4 going down in Golden State, not until Sunday. My God, you really need a 2-day break? The series is staying in Golden State. It takes forever. Talking about this before the show. That's what the Major League Baseball playoffs have going for them. Game 1 of the playoffs to last game of the World Series, in and out in 3 weeks. Takes 3 weeks to play a series practically in the NBA. So we put up a poll on our Twitter there this morning asking people to weigh in on this series here, the Warriors and the Kings. Kind of surprising, the Kings still being disrespected despite being down 1-2 in their series versus the Kings. Golden State is a slim minus 115 favorite to win the series. So we asked people, who are you taking? 52.4% are back on the Warriors, riding that momentum. Here's my prediction for this series. Maybe not going on the limb. Well, first of all, I would take the Kings at that minus 105 number, but I think the home team is quite simply going to win every game. And we're going to go into game 7 in Sacramento, and the big theme or narrative is going to be, well, the Warriors have all the experience. They've been in game 7s before. The Kings are young. And the Kings will win at home because the Warriors suck on the road and they're awesome at home. So my prediction is a home team will win every game in this series. It's going 7. And what a treat that'll be. Tito. Oh my God. What is the deal here? The Lions have suspended a handful of players for gambling. Jamison Williams suspended 6 games. Cephas?
Yep.
The NFL has? Gambling on sports? What were they gambling on? As announced.
I don't know. I don't think that's been released yet.
Definitely. Okay, here's the official quote from Adam Schefter that just came out. NFL announced that Quintez Cephas, I don't even know if you say that, and CJ Moore of the Detroit Lions, Shaka Toney of the Commanders are suspended indefinitely through at least the conclusion of the 2023 season for betting on NFL games in the 2022 season. These players may petition for reinstatement at the conclusion of 2023. Stanley Berryhill and Jameson Williams of the Lions are suspended for the team's first 6 regular season games. Oh my God, how stupid do you got to be, guys? Do you not remember what happened to Calvin Ridley? How stupid are these motherfuckers? I don't know.
The Lions have already the Lions have already, especially for guys who are borderline roster guys, the Lions have already released 2 of those guys. I think Jameson Williams is the only guy that didn't release. I mean, really, in the big picture, this is not really any star players getting affected by this. But yeah, how stupid you got to be a fringe roster guy and then do that. Good luck getting another job in the NFL. I hope you hit your parlay.
Ooh, Jameson Williams, it's a pretty big player there. But guys, how stupid do you got to be? Jameson Williams was, of course, a first rounder out of Alabama there. Yeah, that's kind of shocking news. Who knows what the full story is? Maybe we'll get more of it if there is more to the story. But that's just stupidity at its highest level. They were quite simply oh my God.
I mean, I know Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams was a first round pick, but he had 1 catch last year. He played 6 games. So
yeah, who knows if that takes, it's kind of shitty for the Lions because they had they got a lot of momentum coming in this season. Now, who knows if this scandal will derail them at all in any possible way. It kind of takes the wind out of their sails a little bit. Man, yeah, so we'll wait to hear more on that. But yeah, that's shitty news. And now, of course, everyone's going to come out and call the NFL hypocrites because they have the gambling ads all over their commercials and they're sponsoring everyone. But hey, the players got to know better. If it's a rule of the sport, you got to follow it. Integrity of the game. Ian, any thoughts on your Knicks tonight before we start to wrap up here?
Yeah, Knicks back at the Garden. They'll win tonight. RJ Barrett goes for 30 points. And then they continue on.
Okay. Before we say goodbye, I'll tell you guys about today's Handicapper Heat Check presented by VegasInsider.com. Your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. New to Vegas Insider, Ray Mohannan has made a quick impression, hitting 5 straight MLB winners and going 6-0 in the NBA playoffs. Steven Nover, 14-3 run right now across all sports. And Vince Aikens has nailed 8 straight NBA winners. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's best bets. That's your Handicapper Heat Check. Stay hot, better. So you're headed to Yankee Stadium tonight. Is that right, Ian?
That is correct.
Where are you
by
sitting?
Myself.
Where, though?
I'm sitting down the third baseline, I think. The second level in the 200s down the third baseline. I'm staying far away from the bleacher creatures on purpose.
So what
if I'm sitting in the bleacher creatures, I need backup.
How does the bleacher, I've never sat there at Yankee Stadium. Are you just shit out of luck if you're stuck beside some gigantic person and they're overflowing over to your part of the bench? Is that?
Yes. Yeah, because nobody sits directly over where the seat number is. Everyone's always leaning one way or the other, and yeah, fat people really throw that off. So yeah, it's terrible. Hey, it's good to sit in the bleacher. If you're going with a group of guys and you just want to get drunk and just be amongst chaos, there's no better place to sit than the bleacher creatures. I have no interest. I did it once. I'm good. I no longer need to sit there ever again.
Yeah, I have no interest in ever doing that. I'm looking forward to checking out some live Major League Baseball action, though. And I know you were complaining about the pitch clock. Some stadiums have extended their beer sales into the 8th inning, which is good. But also, you just got to get there a little bit early. Why not go watch Aaron Judge and the Vladdies in the world take batting practice, and you can have a couple cold ones? No?
Yeah, you could do that, but I do have an update on that because I've been to my first live baseball game now since the pitch clock. I went to the Yankees and Twins last weekend. I hate the pitch clock. That get like I felt like I didn't get my money's worth. I got up to get a sausage. I missed an entire inning, not just half an inning. I missed an entire inning in the time it took me to go get a sausage. You can't leave your seat if you're watching an MLB game live to do anything. I won't be leaving my seat tonight for Jays Yankees. You just can't. You'll miss an entire inning. The game was over in 2 hours and 10 minutes. I didn't get my money's worth.
Solely from the perspective of attending a game in person, you're not a fan of the pitch clock.
Yeah, I want the pitch clock to be eliminated when I'm at a game live on TV. It's awesome, but it ruins the in-person experience.
That's fair. Yeah, you're not. I know there's a half hour coming off of each of these games. So what? The game's 15% of the game is shaved off. You're not getting 15% off of your ticket, right? So I'm a big advocate for the pitch clock too. But I understand what you're saying, 100%.
And before you could get up, you could go to the bathroom, you know, get some food and a drink, and you're going to miss half an inning. I didn't even use the bathroom. Yeah. I got up, bought a sausage, came back, and inning was gone. An entire inning I just missed.
Yeah. I think what you'll see people do is time it from when the bottom of the order comes up, when 7, 8, 9 comes up in the lineup. You'll say, okay, we're safe now. If I'm going to go, I got to go now. And that's the thing. You're chugging all those beers, so you got to run to the bathroom. And, you know, in between innings, you don't have enough time. So, yeah, I get it from that perspective. Yeah, that's it, Ian. I got to go to the dentist here to have a tooth looked at.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, we'll see how that goes. I'll provide you guys with an update on that on Monday. I'm sure you're very eager to find out the news on that. But yeah, that does it for today. Ian will be back with me on Monday when we are going to have our official NFL draft betting preview. So our favorite bets for the NFL draft on Monday's show, along with all the other NBA, NHL playoff action, and Major League Baseball. So that does it. We thank Ian for joining us. We thank producer Tito for producing. We thank you, dear viewer, for checking us out again today. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper, baby. Woo! Yeah!